Patrick Eads and his crew, including his son Tyler at Deary Brothers Ford on Mormon Trek. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the lovely and dynamic Steve Anderson and his great staff there, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Mike's E-Keys for Cars, GT Car and his talented craftsman at Supple's Building and Remodeling. 1-800-800-ROSE and Hawkeye Courier. The Midtown Family Restaurants, both of them excellent places to eat. Harty and Stocker Jewelers in downtown Iowa City. Diamond Dream Sports Academy in North Liberty. Senior Benefits. Premier Automotive. Hit a deer. Call Premier. The Ox Yoke Inn in the Amanas. Streets Maintenance. Dr. Lance Forbes and his staff at Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. And Big Dog Tech Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, on this Friday morning, it's Tom Suter and Pat Harty.
Yeah, you mentioned the deer. Hit a deer, call Premier.
Yes.
Driving back home yesterday, just about every day there's deer on Rochester.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and that's part of the area that the drones are going over to count the deer population.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't see them so much in the early morning as I used to because it's been so cold. But once it warms up, I'm sure I'll start seeing them again.
Mm-hmm.
But they know to try to stay warm when it's ice cold like it's been.
Sure. And Pat, do you have deer in your neighborhood like we do?
Tons.
Yeah,
because of all the creeks. And we're right near Scott Park. Yeah, just a lot of trees and creeks in my neighborhood. Tons of trees, and that seems to... But, yeah, they're all over the place. I mean, there was one in my backyard when I left this morning.
Yeah, we have deer hollow out places in the snow, and they sleep in it. And
that's pretty
stuff.
neat, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is.
Commingling with nature, that's us. So we've got a big, busy weekend with Hawkeye sports, obviously.
Yes.
Men tomorrow at 3, women at what is it, 1:30?
1
Sunday?
o'clock.
1 o'clock,
Sunday, and then wrestling 7:30, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not the best time for...
On a Sunday
No,
night.
Sunday
night
night?
at 7:30.
No, that's terrible.
I just think that's a terrible time for a wrestling match.
Tommy seems to think it's because they wanted to get it on TV.
Well, I mean, that helps. But again, I mean, not that it would hurt wrestling in this situation. It's going to be packed, but I just don't think that's the best time for a wrestling match.
No, it isn't. And, I mean, they had to have time to clean up the arena after the women's game, which will... I'm sure that plays into it somewhat.
Yeah, but in the women's game, so what, 1, 3... Well, they got 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. 7:30 on a Sunday night is not, to me...
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
But that's the world we live in now, and it should be a hell of a match. I see some of the wrestling experts stuff that I've seen to have it like 5-5 as far as who's going to win the duels. So it'll come down to bonus points if it goes that way. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who's the second best team in the country.
That's what it amounts to.
That's what it amounts to. They're wrestling to see who looks like they have the best shot to finish runner-up to Penn State.
Actually, there's 3 real important events in Iowa City. Iowa, the men's basketball team, they came so close to winning the other night against
They did,
Oregon.
but stuff's not working well for them. I mean, Northwestern won at Ohio State last night by like 20. And Penn State won its 4th game. So, I mean, Iowa's got to win.
We got to win tomorrow.
Because now, I mean, I'm worried more about Minnesota's. They've got 6 wins. Minnesota's really playing well right now.
They are.
I mean, I don't know how many they've won but I think they've done something like 6 out of their last 9 or whatever. They've really been on a nice little run here, and to go out there and sweep both teams in L.A., that's impressive.
It is, and then their next game, Penn State goes to Minnesota, so...
Now, that'll be an interesting one. It's easy to assume Minnesota will win that game, but Penn State, maybe they're back to playing like they were earlier this year when they looked really good. But what I'm saying is Iowa's got to win some of these games because some of the teams that I assumed would be behind Iowa, namely Penn State and Northwestern, were the 2 I just figured were going to be 17 and 18. I don't know. And Washington has to win this game.
Sure they do.
They're what are they, 4-10, 4-11?
They are 4-11.
Yeah, they have. I mean, Washington is really in danger of be in one of those bottom 3 spots, but I was stunned at the North. I could not believe how bad Ohio State played.
And then Washington's next game is at Wisconsin, and
they're going to
win that.
So that's 12 losses there. Washington, to me, looks like they're so. I think Iowa's going to win Saturday, but God, I've been wrong so many times where I think I'm just predicting I'm kind of going like Hunter. I'm just being positive, just thinking that good things are going to happen because, life is basically good.
Good things are going to happen because good things almost happened the other night against Oregon, and oops, not quite.
And I think Washington's not as good as Oregon, but Washington's got some good inside. What's his name? Great Osabar. What a great name. But he could really wreak some havoc. But I just have a feeling that Peyton and those guys are going to explode and carry through. I mean, they got to win this one. If they lose this one, then I think a lot of people, if you look at the conference, might say, Iowa may finish in last place.
Yeah, sure they could.
With what they have left. I mean, they got to go to Illinois. Don't they have to I mean, with what they have left, they got to go to Northwestern, but the hell I am stunned by how well Chris Collins is coaching that team right now.
We got to go to Illinois, get to go to Northwestern. We host Michigan State.
That ain't going to be easy.
No, and then at Nebraska ain't going to be easy.
That ain't going to be. I mean, there's a chance this may be the only game they win the rest of the year, if they even win this one. If you just kind of look at the percentages and the circumstances. But I still say Northwestern's also the kind of team that can come out and lose its next Big Ten game by 25 points.
Sure they are.
That was just a weird game yesterday from Ohio State's standpoint. They didn't get loose balls. They just didn't do anything. And they were 7-8. Mm-hmm. They went into that game 7-8 and basically in the tournament and they just laid that huge major egg. It's just a weird conference.
So Ohio State now is at 15-12, so they're no lock for the NCAAs.
No, the best thing they had going for them was their 7-8 conference record.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, of course. And then the Sunday game, Iowa hosting UCLA. That should be fun. Still have not heard if Lauren Betts is.
She played last night.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah, I don't know where. Yeah, she's played. She led them to a win, but they didn't play. They played Illinois. And it was close until the end. They pulled away and beat them 70-55.
Yeah.
I was watching highlights, but they didn't play very. I mean, it was really close for 2/3 of the game. And Illinois, and it was in L.A., I believe, or maybe it was in Illinois. All I know, it was 70-55, and UCLA pulled away at the end. But they're not as good as I thought they were.
Well, we've been saying all along.
I know they've only lost once, but
no great team.
I don't think there is a great team. I think they might be the best of a group of like 6 or 7 really good. Actually, no, Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame was. Did I read where Notre Dame was ahead 46-6 at Miami last night? Or did I hear it on ESPN?
I didn't hear
I think I heard that. I was half asleep, but I think they were ahead something like 46-6 against Miami. Notre Dame's really good, and they're really athletic, and they have the best guard, and I think the best player in the country, and Hannah Hidalgo.
Uh-huh.
And her other shooting guard that plays with her is really good, a great passer. So
no, that's a really good team. Pretty good sports year for Notre Dame, huh?
Well, they're always good in the soccer and all those other. They're
always
good in all that stuff. We just don't pay any attention to it. But yeah, I mean, when football, and they did okay in that national championship game. I mean, they
did.
I mean, Ohio State was just a better team, but Notre Dame, I thought, at least kind of held its own for a while, but. Ohio State just had too much firepower.
Notre Dame was up 18-6 in the first quarter, and then they were up 38-13 by half.
Okay, I don't know what I heard.
So 82-42.
38-13 at halftime.
Yeah.
Okay.
82-42.
And that was at Miami. Miami obviously must not be very good, but no, this is a big game. I'm glad it's on a Saturday at 3 o'clock.
They're 13-13, and they're not horrible.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, with a 13-13 record, though. 6 or 7 of those could have just been non-conference. Like you look at Iowa's record, the men of those wins. They've always got those 5, 6, or 7 just patsies from home.
Yeah,
and that's one thing. I wrote a big story on kind of how Iowa has sort of sunk to where it is right now. And I had my starting point back when LaFrenz committed to Kansas, because to me that was the beginning of the decay, because Bowlesby was pissed. And I don't believe their relationship was ever the same. He eventually got rid of him. That led to Alford. That led to Licklider. You had Pierce. All that stuff. And I think Fran hasn't won enough to overlook all that stuff because, I mean, wasn't there a while like your wife didn't go to games for a while?
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of stuff that has just happened in men's basketball that has just made it hard. There's been all these interruptions. And now it comes down to, I mean, all this stuff, I mean, we all write all this stuff trying, what is going on? They're just not winning enough. I mean, if they just haven't, the fact that they haven't been to the Sweet 16 in going on 26 years, that is the overriding factor on everything. A lot of other stuff matters. I get that. Alford didn't win enough to offset being Alford. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Licklider, that was just ridiculous. Fran, for a while, was going. I mean, and he was able to, well, we haven't been here that long. That stuff, none of those streaks are really on us. Well, now he's been here 15 years, and they're not winning enough to offset. And people bring up the non-conference schedule. Yes, it doesn't help. It's not good. I think they should be playing you and I and Drake. But if they were winning, just traditionally winning like Wisconsin, fans would find a way to go to that 7 o'clock game against Southern on a Tuesday night because they want to be a part of that because the team's winning. The non-conference schedule, to me, yeah, it's an issue, but it's the easiest thing to fix if you just win.
I mean, Fran has elevated the program out of the depths, and he has.
Well, yeah, he lifted it from the ashes, is what I wrote in my story, but that was a long time ago when he did that.
Well, that's true.
And it's a what have you done lately for me profession. He knows that, and right now he's not winning. You get a break a little bit from Owen Freeman because I wrote, I think, four things are obviously going to happen. Fran's either going to come back, everything intact. He's going to come back, but maybe forced to hire a defensive specialist, maybe something like that. Or he and Beth are going to reach a separation agreement, or they're going to tell him they're going to fire him. Those are the four things. Mm-hmm. One of those four things will happen. Which one of those? I don't know which one. I have a feeling which one I'd be leaning toward right now, but I'm still not comfortable. I'm not going to write. And I've said before, I don't think he should just be fired based on merit and body of work. No, I'm not there yet. Even with this season, I'm not there yet.
He's finished, what?
11 out of 12. Yeah. 4 out of the last 5 NCAA tournaments, 11 out of 12 upper division finishes, won the Big Ten tournament in 22. You just don't fire that.
No.
And also, incredible citizenship from his players. All that stuff matters. But there's an obvious disconnect. Well, and I just don't think Fran right now, I don't think he wants to go out and start drawing up fan support in the community. He's never really done much of that. His big thing is cancer awareness. He spends a lot of his, and more power to him. But one of the things I think you see coaches that maybe are starting to feel the heat but don't want to leave, and the administration doesn't want to force them out. They do things like maybe just, change the coaching staff or something. Get a defensive get somebody in here because you got to get better on defense if you're going to continue to play this fast on offense. That I could see that happening, but I could also see them reaching an agreement. I mean, his buyout's $4.2 million, and
well, as buyouts go, that
ain't bad.
No, it isn't.
That ain't bad. But Iowa right now, I mean, it's interesting when I bring up that loan that they owe the university. A lot of it, that doesn't mean anything, really. Okay, that $50 million loan that they still own 40. How much do they still owe on that?
Like 47.5.
So that doesn't mean it. That's not a factor. Great if that's not a factor, but I find that
I would think it has to be a factor.
It has to be a factor, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would think
but
so.
But I've had people say, "I've heard you bring that up," and that trust me, that's not in their thinking at all. Okay, well, great. Then go out and hire Rick Pitino away from St. John. God, can you believe he is such a good coach?
Oh man,
I mean they're like 13-2 in the conference, but no, I remember covering the LaFrenz press conference. I'd only been on the beat for a little over a year. I remember driving up to Monona as high school and what have you, but I knew he wasn't coming to Iowa. It was no seat. His dad didn't want him coming here. His dad hadn't, and he was going to go to Kansas, and you can certainly understand, but that's when I just started being told by a lot of people that Bowlesby was pissed because he didn't think that Iowa worked hard enough to recruit him. And that started the tension and what have you. And like I said, when Alford got hired, I had no problem with it. But it didn't work. It worked for some. Like Adam Haluska will swear by Alford, and rightfully so.
Fair enough.
I get it. But there's a lot more that won't. And he made it to 3 NCAA tournaments and 7. They just weren't good enough.
No, I mean, at the beginning, it looked like an absolute home run hire.
That's what I wrote in my story. He had the Hawk's Nest was packed, energized. But then what happened, Tom, in September 2002?
September of 2000, a long time ago.
Pierre Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that blew a hole.
And then what did Alford do after the news broke? What's the first thing he did at the Big Ten tournament when he was told about Pierce? He said he thinks
he's innocent.
And that's what I rehashed all that stuff. Yeah, there was certainly no news in what I wrote. It was just explaining to people who maybe aren't real familiar. It's like it's just like a 35-year malaise, you know.
Yep.
And it's like what could go wrong has gone wrong in a lot of ways. But Davis and Alford at the end, I mean, it was not a good relationship. And Bowlesby had every right to do what he did, and Alford looked to be a good hire, but it didn't work. And then, of course, Licklider was a disaster, and that really set the program back.
They just hired the wrong guy from Butler.
And
that's what they did.
Yeah. But that other guy you're talking about from Butler, he could come back to. He doesn't want to be a college coach.
No,
he doesn't want to. He's a basketball general manager now, and that was his thing. But no, you're right about that. But it's just wild though how that LaFren's decision. Ever since then, it just seems like a lot of times they can't sustain any traction. I mean, would you have a decade of Alford and all that stuff on and off the court and Licklider? That's a lot of history.
Yes.
That's a lot, and that's a lot of people. And then you also have the rise of watching. It's so much easier not to go to games now unless you're just winning. And see, I think that's concern with Fran, and I'm kind of reading you. I don't know if Fran's ever going to be able to win at an exceptionally high level enough to offset the disconnect. Do you? Because it's going to take 13-7, 14-7.
Because I mean, even with Luka and the Murrays and J-Bo, even that.
But the arena,
it was pretty good.
It was pretty. There was a lot of games when Luke where that arena was close to packed, and
it was.
But they were also winning, but they weren't winning at an incredibly high rate.
No, and when push came to shove, they didn't win.
They didn't win when they had to. Like I wrote in I've always thought this. I think the Richmond game was sort of the beginning of the end.
Oh my God,
they lost to Richmond.
Ridiculous.
I mean, that team had the Murray twins and Jordan Bohannon on it, and they lost. But in fairness to Fran, Jordan Bohannon played horribly in that game.
Joe Wieskamp too, right?
Was he on that team?
I think so.
Are we expecting a call, by the way?
Oh yes, at 9:30. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, I'm not the call, but
okay.
I was going to ask you, when was the last time we won a game in the NCAA tournament?
Grand Valley State Grand Canyon State.
Yeah, because they lost to Auburn, then they lost to Richmond. But yeah, I think was it?
Yeah. They had that goofy student section that had all the dances and stuff. It's one of those teams that just recently came.
Yeah, he's four. Yeah, and Bryce Drew is the coach, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Fran is 4-7 in the NCAA tournament. That's a big part of the problem. That's a big part of the problem.
Yeah, that's too bad because I figured when we had the Murrays and Garza that we were really going to go far.
Yeah.
Well. Now, if he had better let's say he's got that 4-7 record, but there's a couple years where he finished second. It would be a little because Purdue hasn't done. I know Purdue made a run last year. Purdue has had a lot of disappointing NCAA tournaments.
They were beat out.
But he does so well during the regular season that it offsets that a little bit. Fran hasn't done well enough to offset because when I say well enough, you got to finish in the top 3, I think. And that doesn't happen very often. He always finishes in the upper division, but rarely in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll get off so you can get your call.
Okay, thanks, Karen.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we're having Kathy Wilkie is her name, Cooper DeJean's grandmother, and
we're going to grill her. We're going to ask her the tough questions.
Well, I just want to reiterate, somebody reached out to us. I'm not like creeping out former Iowa football stars and asking if we can talk to their relatives. I'm glad to have her on.
Oh, Dave was in the other day.
Okay, but I just want to make it clear that it's not. We weren't like bugging Cooper DeJean or something. This was something that was presented to us, and hey, we're more than glad to do it. And Tom, I'm going to let you run this interview. You're going to go. Are you going to go hard?
I'm going to go hard.
Going inside edition.
This is going to be. She'll be in tears 3 minutes in.
Are you going to bring up the punt?
Immediately.
That's what I figured.
Yes. Oh, of course.
Well, I think it'd be funny if she just. Oh, I thought it was the right call. Iowa fans grow up. I think it'd be.
Stop being such.
I'm not
pussies.
expecting that answer. So, but But, yeah, this basketball, I'm guessing Saturday, I think there's going to be somewhere between 7 and 10. I'm predicting between 7 and 10.
I think it might get 10+. And the only reason I say it because the weather's going to be so much nicer and people are going to want to, just kind of, hey, this is good.
Well,
Let's
they had
see the Hawks.
What was the one against Wisconsin? That was at noon. What was that crowd?
It was better.
Well, I was there.
10-ish.
Yeah, okay. I think it'll be similar to that. Yeah. I think it will be similar to that.
And this is a game that, yes, we do have to win it, but it's also a game that we have a good chance to win.
But also a good chance to lose.
Well, we could.
Washington's athletic. They're just, for some reason, they're just not a very good basketball team. But when I watch them, they have decent individual pieces, athletic pieces, and what have you. But
do they not shoot well?
But it just goes to show you, though, after what Northwestern, I would have given Northwestern no chance to win at Ohio State. I wouldn't even have considered it much. And they didn't just win.
They blew them out.
I looked at it one time, and I think it was like 24 points. Of course, Ohio State made a run, got it down to like 8 or 10, and I'm like, okay, Northwestern's going to run out of gas. Change the channel, come back, Northwestern's back up by like 20.
Wow.
Yeah, it was strange. Northwestern is now 5-11, I believe, in Big Ten play. So, I mean, I just assumed that Penn State and Northwestern were going to be the two bottoms, but you can't make that assumption anymore.
No, you sure can't.
And Washington. Those were the three that I thought Iowa would finish above.
No, Iowa's right there with them.
Right there with them.
And we need to win tomorrow to start getting a little separation.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where Rutgers ends up too, because they're losing a lot of games.
They are.
Hello.
Good morning.
Is this Kathy?
Yes, it is, and Al's sitting here too.
And who is?
Al?
Oh, great.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, welcome to KCJJ land. We appreciate you coming on, Kathy. All right, Tom.
We really do.
Thanks for having us.
You bet.
Oh, this is great. So the first question I want to ask you,
You're just getting right into it. You're not.
We have asked this question of a lot of people, and I know, Kathy, that you are going to be objective, and you are going to have the absolute definitive objective answer to this question. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Was it a fair catch?
Absolutely not.
Yes. Good answer, Al. Yes.
All right. Well, Tom, you got me.
No, it absolutely was not a fair catch.
I know.
And it was right in front of us. It was right in front of us. And what an amazing play by Cooper. And they took it away from him.
I know it.
You know, in a way, though, I agree with you guys, but it sort of adds to the mystique of the play. The fact that it was taken away, because people will talk about it forever. I mean, were you guys in the stadium when that was going on, I assume?
Yes, we were.
Explain the high and low, because, I mean, it was weird watching from the press box. I'm like, what is going on?
We were so up in the air, so high, and then all of a sudden, when we saw Cooper's face on the scoreboard and they questioned what had happened, we got so deflated so fast. It was really disappointing.
Well, and if I recall his facial expression, it was disbelief.
Like it can't be. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of disbelief.
I was crying both ways, so you know.
Yeah, that was and things didn't turn out well.
No, let's. Hey, I want to. When I realized when I was starting to prepare for this.
The funny part is we ran into a lot of Minnesota fans after the game, and admittedly they sided with us, but it was already done, and the horse was out of the barn.
Well, plus they didn't handle, whether you agree with whether it was the officials didn't handle it right anyway.
No,
they let the play out, and it was complete dysfunction.
Well,
yeah, it really was.
The Minnesota team didn't let up as if they thought it was a fair catch at all, even close to it,
No, you're right about that.
Exactly. Well, let me give you a postscript to this question before we turn the page on this. At the Minnesota game this year, we went up to Minneapolis, and there were probably hundreds of Iowa fans that had T-shirts that said it wasn't a fair catch. And the even better part is there were 100 at least T-shirts that Minnesota fans had that said it was a fair catch, and they had the rule written on the back of their T-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy!
Oh,
so somebody's making money off that.
Somebody is.
Yeah.
did. Yeah, we did.
I've got a funny story for you. The first time I ever really heard of Cooper, it was from a coworker of mine who I'm not going to name, but he had covered him at the Drake Relays. And he was just marveling about what a great athlete he was and this and that. But he goes, but I'll tell you what, man. He goes, he's not the best interview. And I'm like, why? He goes, kid won't say anything about himself. He just, every time you try to get something, he just gives you some really boring, humble answer. And he goes, that's just how he is. And then after covering him for 3 years at Iowa, he is. Every time we try to get him to just celebrate his greatness, he just seemed really uncomfortable and awkward. Is that how he's always been? And what do you attribute that to?
It is the way he's always been. For his senior reception after his graduation from high school, he told his parents he really didn't want to have one because he said, I really don't want to have to talk to all those people. He's just all, but he has really changed, as you can tell now. He's coming out of that comfort zone, and he really explains his humble heart, where he's coming from, and what he lived in life, you know.
Oh, sure. No, I see him doing interviews now, and he's let his guard down a little bit. I mean, plus he's also a 22, 23-year-old man, as opposed to, I mean, you grow and you evolve, yeah. But no, he was. What I always appreciated was that he never seemed to take himself too serious, even as he was ascending to stardom. He didn't seem to change at all in these interviews at Iowa. And I will say that's a big part of the Iowa culture, too. The players all seem to put the program first, no matter how much their star is rising.
That's right. That's right.
So did Cooper, did he ever consider anything besides playing football at Iowa?
No, not really. Once he got a visit, and Phil Parker intercepted him from the offense to the defense, he was pretty well bought in.
And it was always football, because obviously he could have played a lot of other sports. Was football always his choice, or is that where he thought he could reach the highest pinnacle in sports?
As a freshman and sophomore in high school, he had hopes of maybe playing basketball.
Okay.
He traveled with Martin Brothers in the summertime.
Sure.
And he had a visit to Emporia State as a sophomore, and they pulled him into the office and offered him, but they said, you know, it's early for you, but just know that our offer is always here, you know. And we thought maybe that's what he would do, and then, I don't know, it just kind of blossomed into football, and then he was lucky enough to be on state championship teams, and it went from there. Well,
it would have been interesting had he grown to like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Maybe that would have
made a lot of difference.
Because so often that changes. We have Adam Haluska on this show a lot, former Iowa basketball star, and I've asked him, if you only grew to be 6 foot, he goes, I probably would have ran track in college instead of basketball. But it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting how that works out. Go ahead, Tom.
I forgot where I was going. So go ahead.
So should I just keep rambling?
You keep rambling.
So how often are you guys able to watch him in person now that he's in the NFL?
We made a couple of trips to Philadelphia and to Dallas, but otherwise we just kind of huddle down in front of the TV so we can see it up close and personal.
Okay, and when he intercepted that ball, did you think pick six?
Oh, yeah, we were at the Superdome.
Okay,
yeah, we were there for that. And just like Cooper said, you know, when he's got the ball in an open field, we have a lot of confidence in what he can do. And that comes from like in high school when they snapped the snap over his head up at Storm Lake, and he had to run it back 80 yards for a touchdown. You give him the ball in the open field, and he can do some magical things.
He sure can.
He just finds a way, doesn't he? He finds that crack and just goes to it.
He's blessed. His head's up all the time, and he sees things.
The other thing I think sometimes with Cooper, people don't realize, I've had a chance to stand close. He's a little bigger than you think. I mean, he's a good 6'1", and you think cornerback, but no, it's like he's got the perfect size to play the position that he does. And I'm curious, there's a lot of talk about, and I see podcasts about, you know, he and Riley Moss, the only white cornerbacks in the NFL. Do you guys talk to him about that much? Is that joked about? Because I saw an interview with him, and he seemed really relaxed talking about it. But I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Well, originally that was kind of a concern, you know, because we thought maybe there was some mystique about that position for him, but I guess we've outgrown that concern.
Yes, I would say.
And, he's kind of proved himself there. So
he certainly has.
We kind of get a kick out of it, you know, to refer to him as white instead of black. We get a charge out of it.
Okay, I have a fun question for you now. Cooper has been talking lately about he and Caitlin Clark taking on all comers as a basketball duo. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, that would be something, if they teamed up and took on other NFL players and WNBA players. That would be an attention getter, I'm sure.
It sure would, and it would make a lot of money. I mean, no, that would be a huge
And I
event.
would give them a shot, too.
Oh, I would think it. I think it would be very fun to watch. Yeah, no, that would be. Yeah, because I mean, you see all the. I never saw Cooper play basketball, but of course I've seen enough video. I mean, his vertical jump and his ball handling. No, he was. I'm surprised that he only had Emporia State. That does kind of surprise me, because no, he could really play. So. When he would talk about Hawkeye football once he was here, you always hear about the Iowa culture, the Iowa way. What would he tell you guys? Like when he'd come home, man, there's just something special about this. And when he would talk about Kirk Ferentz, how would he describe that to you guys before you had a chance to really see what it was like?
Oh, he was so appreciative of the opportunity to be with Coach Ferentz, Coach Woods, and Coach Parker. He gives them all the credit in the world, and the family atmosphere. Luckily for him, is almost duplicated in Philadelphia too. But he always stuck up for his teammates. And Iowa struggled on offense, but you never heard a bad word out of Cooper's mouth about that.
Or any on the defense. No, you're right about that. Yeah, no, and that had to be frustrating. I mean, it had to be, but they handled it really well.
It was more frustrating for Grandma and Grandpa, I think.
Yeah, I want to ask. So you said life in Philadelphia. How has he described it to you guys? Does he like what's going on away from the football field?
Well, the city life, he could take or leave it, but unfortunately it comes with the deal.
Sure.
And so he spends most of his time at the facility because all the needs you have are met right there, with 7 chefs cooking anything you want and the workout areas and things like that. So basically he, except for making appearances, which he's done a lot lately, he doesn't really have much to do with the city per se. It's mostly just in the facility and with his teammates.
Okay.
So kind of very much like it was at Iowa, pretty much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Curious, what do you think?
Unfortunately, though, next year it could be a different roster, with this. It's a business, free agency and whatnot, so they're kind of holding their breath and hoping things can stay together.
Well, yeah, no, they've got a good thing going there, and I think they were clearly the best team. I think this is one of those years where, I mean, you could. Well, I'll tell you, after Cooper made that interception, I'm like, this game's over. I mean, you could just tell, like, their defensive line just overwhelmed Kansas City. It was impressive.
Yeah,
they sure did.
They sure did.
So, what was it like going to the Super Bowl? I mean, did you just look around and say, "My God, we're here"?
Yep, that's exactly what we did.
We said there is no place higher than this event right here. Cooper has reached the pinnacle, and hopefully it'll be there again someday. But we had to pinch ourselves. It was just unreal. What a storybook deal.
I'm curious. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We pretty much lost our identity now. All we're known as is Cooper's grandpa and grandma. So. But that's okay.
So did you make up a T-shirt, I'm Cooper's grandma and grandpa?
I do have one. Yeah.
Great.
I'm just curious, was there ever a moment where maybe you guys looked at each other and said, wow, this kid's going to be really good? When he was at Iowa, like, God, he's going to be playing in the NFL. Or was that just something that came gradually? How did that evolve for you guys?
That came gradually because we were just happy to have him on the sidelines in black and gold to begin with. And then he worked his way onto the field, and things just grew from there. And then agents started to contact him, about the possibility of moving on to the next level. And we didn't know what to think, Your heads are kind of spinning. And then he had that decision to make, whether to go or stay, which wasn't easy. I mean, there were a lot of tears shed over that. But I think he made the right decision.
I think he did, too, and I was just going to ask you exactly that. How hard was that decision? Because he obviously loved being a Hawkeye.
And would have gotten NIL money.
Yeah.
Oh, he was invested all the way. He's got a lot of buddies there. In fact, he'll be there this weekend to spend time with them again and to see the coaches. he just had a hard time parting with that.
I'll bet.
It's crazy to think he hasn't even been out of high school 4 years yet.
Exactly.
I mean, that is crazy when you think about that.
It
The
is.
amount of stuff.
Exactly.
And to have a pick six in the Super Bowl in your first year is just insane.
On your birthday.
On your birthday, yeah.
Birthday.
I'm curious, will he spend a lot of time in the off? Will he come back and spend a lot of time in Odebolt in the off season? I mean, how's that?
No, he hasn't really said. I think he'll be on the move. He'll go to Philadelphia, and right now he wants to go someplace warm and do some golfing. But
Sounds good.
he'll be here some, I'm sure.
Okay, so he does a lot of golfing.
Yes.
He loves it. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to ask what he did maybe to take a break. So that's kind of his thing away from football right now, because he used to have all those other sports he played. Now he does. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much golf. Yeah.
What is he? I mean, I know you've got another DeJean coming up the ranks. Jax, who just got an offer from Michigan. I saw. What kind of influence has Cooper been on him?
Well, I think he's set a good example, and Jax really looks up to him. He came to Jax's basketball game last night, and Jax had his best game of the year. So I said, Cooper, you need to come to every game.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
And
He
Jax
has another brother that's on the football program at USD.
That's
too.
right. Yes. Yeah. So did sports come easy to all three of them?
Well, I think it was something they were all interested in from the very start. I guess it just seemed natural. The mom and dad, were all American basketball players at Huron and at Briarcliff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they didn't hesitate to take them anywhere they wanted for travel baseball or basketball or 7-on-7 football. So
Okay.
they kind of fed it, and nursed it along.
Well, so how athletic are you two?
Oh. We try to think his athleticism comes from us. Anyway.
So we did our time. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
That's great.
We had a lot of days where Cooper and Beckett would load up before Jax came along with all their little balls, foam balls, air balls, and plastic balls in a gunny sack, and we'd go down to the football field and throw passes, and it was always, chase me, Grandpa, chase me. And of course, in those days, I could catch up to him. But those days are long gone, but good memories.
But now look where everybody is, man. What a story. I mean, it really is. And like I said, I will remember him as much for his humility, talking to him away. And I'll never forget, though, the first time I heard that, my buddy talking about, you'll never get this kid to say anything good about himself. And he meant that as a compliment. He meant that. He basically said he was boring and said he will not talk about himself. And that was like right after winning like the 100-yard dash. It was just, but that said a lot about Cooper and the people who raised him. Tom, you want to?
Well, got one more question to ask you
and
guys.
we appreciate you guys giving us some time. I think our listeners enjoyed hearing this.
Absolutely. We don't mind. We love to.
Okay.
And we really appreciate your time. So this question, I ask of all of the people, all of the coaches, all of the players in all of the sports that we talk to, and we've gotten some great answers, and we've gotten some miserable answers. So we'll see where you guys fit in the equation. Okay, so Beth Getz, Iowa's athletic director, picks up the phone and calls you guys and Kathy, Al, we need your help. We need to get some money in here, and we're going to have a big concert at Kinnick Stadium. And you guys, Kathy and Al, you need to hire a band, an act, or a singer to fill up Kinnick Stadium. Who are you going to get?
Well, it won't be the halftime entertainment of the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm with you there.
We're really old when it comes to that kind of stuff.
But I think we would fire up for Neil Diamond as long as he would come onto the field in the Back in Black song.
Okay, what do you think of that, Tom?
Neil Diamond, interesting. So, Kathy, you agree?
Yeah, Neil Diamond is my cup of tea.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Is that our first Neil Diamond?
Mercifully.
Okay.
No,
Have
I think he would do well.
Our other thought is, of course, Caitlin and Cooper playing one-on-one.
Oh, that would definitely probably
yeah.
fill Kinnick.
I would go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
No, that would definitely fill.
That's not a concert, but...
No,
Caitlin can do anything except sing.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You heard her sing "Happy Birthday."
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, I think Cooper probably would fit into that too. I don't think he's a musician.
Okay.
So we won't
you would not get that out of him, no.
So we won't schedule them for a duet then, okay?
No.
Maybe not.
It's not Peaches and Herb, is what you're saying? Okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
This was a lot of fun.
This was great.
It is
We
our
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Have a
take
good
care.
weekend.
Oh, that was fun.
That was great.
That was fun.
I said.
Oh, can you imagine him doing a sing-along with Sweet Caroline?
So in his peak, would he have
50,000
filled
people?
Kinnick? Like in the 1975?
I think so.
Pretty
I
close.
do.
Yeah.
I don't think he would now. But, yeah, I do. Because he was as big as it gets.
Oh, I mean, he has so many songs. I'm not a Neil Diamond fan, but I've heard of so many of his. And there's a few, like Kentucky Woman.
Yeah.
There's a few of his songs that I don't mind.
Oh, I would
about
say
Shiloh?
Cherry,
I
Cherry.
liked a lot of his songs, yeah.
It's a great
Then you
song.
had Play Me. Is
Yeah.
that another one? But no, that was that kind of.
Brother Loves Traveling Salvation Show.
Yeah,
was
that's
Also
in the-
wrote I'm a Believer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Yeah.
so-
But yeah, no, that was fun. Appreciate Dave Dickey for.
Yeah.
And the way he described them is exactly how they turned out to be.
Great.
That
And
was
they're
great.
not fans of Kendrick Lamar, nor are you.
Nor am I.
Actually, I had never I know I'm making fun of myself. I'd barely heard of him before the Super Bowl. I had never heard a song by him. I had heard his name like on TV, but I had
Exactly.
never really paid attention to what he was or who he was.
I just don't like it. I mean, he was been on Saturday Night Live a couple of times, and I can't make it all the way through a song.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
And I know I'm
okay.
70-year-olds
You're
and
not the-
white.
you're
Okay.
not the
Yeah.
demo.
Kendrick Lamar or Slipknot? Who you listening to?
Unfortunately, Slipknot.
I'm trying to picture you and Ann at home just jamming to Slipknot.
Well, we're rockers.
Sipping on your glasses of wine as Slipknot's just pounding in the background.
In our smoking jackets.
Yep.
Yes.
That's a band, and I know that's a band that I've never understood. But man, people love
Wasn't
them.
one of their players from Iowa?
Well, they all.
They're all
were.
from,
They're
like,
all.
the-
They all
they're
are?
from- yeah, the one lead singer lived right down the street from my sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think Corey Taylor is the name, I believe. Yeah, and but yeah, they were a local band, as local as it gets, and
Yep.
sort of the heavy metal version of Kiss in a way, weren't they? With don't they wear masks and stuff when they
Yes.
play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never understood it, but man, if it works for other people, more power to you. That's the beauty of music.
Yep.
All right, well, let's take our break, and thanks to Kathy and Al for joining us. Let's talk about Cooper DeJean. That was fun.
All right. You're listening to Hawkfanatic on the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Your life is always changing, and a lot of things can affect how and what you save. So a good retirement plan changes with your life. At Wells Fargo Advisors, we believe conversation leads to financial clarity. So start a conversation today. Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far. For information locally, call 338-3799 or 866-217-2369 or stop by 501 12th Avenue, Suite 201, Coralville. Wells Fargo Advisors, LLC, member SIPC.
It's lunchtime and I'm starving. Let's grab something to eat.
All right. What do you recommend?
Well, since you're new in town, I'm taking you to a very special Italian restaurant called Zio Giano's. Zio Giano's has been owned and operated by the same family for 40 years.
Sounds good. I love Italian. Are you sure we have enough time for Italian?
Yes, and you'll love it. The food is fresh and the service is fast.
Sounds perfect. We are definitely going to Zio Giano's.
Zio Giano's, pasta with a smile.
You take great care to maintain your home or business inside and out. But maybe, just maybe, there's something missing. Something that makes your home stand out among the others in your neighborhood. Something that makes your business pop and increases traffic. Something that you can change and customize at your command. Well, there's a solution, and that's Illuminlight's permanent outdoor lighting from Big Dog Tech. Illuminlights provides illumination for every occasion. Holiday lighting, accent lights, security, and of course lighting for all your favorite sports. The Illuminlights app lets you create your own patterns with color, motion, brightness, and static control over every individual light, or use Big Dog's presets to transform your home or business. The professionally installed track system makes Illuminlight's LEDs virtually disappear until you turn them on. Rated at 50,000 hours, you'll enjoy stress-free convenience for years to come.
For more information about Illuminlight's permanent outdoor lighting, go to BigDogTEK.net or give them a call at 319-395-0800. That's 319-395-0800.
Don't wait for an emergency to get a backup for your car keys. Unlike the olden days, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's eKeys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys that are on the market today. For spares and lost keys, Mike's eKeys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, high security, and remote head keys. Mike's eKeys for Cars will keep you on the road. Call 319-330-9185 and schedule an appointment today. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 319-330-9185 today.
Are you tired of living in a home that doesn't quite meet your needs? Then it's time to call the experts at Streets Maintenance. Their team of skilled professionals specializes in renovations and remodeling, transforming your home into the space you've always dreamed of. From kitchen bath remodels to complete home renovations, no job is too big or too small. Streets Maintenance will work with you every step of the way to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So don't wait any longer. Call Streets Maintenance to schedule your consultation at 400-4483. Let's start building your dream home today.
Hi, this is Bill Leixnering from the Oxyoke Inn. The Oxyoke Inn is now serving daily. Our Oxyoke family is ready to serve you with the same quality of food and service you've come to trust since 1940. Now serving lunch, dinner, banquets, and carry-out daily with 4 portion sizes. Sundays featuring our famous brunch buffet. You can also order curbside carry-out and pies to go online and take the comforting taste of the Oxyoke home to your family's table. Visit oxyokeinn.com for hours, menus, reservations, carry-out, specials, and gift cards. From our Oxyoke family to yours, we can't wait to see you again soon. Oxyoke Inn, in the heart of Amana.
Once upon a time, in the land of the Hawkeyes, a business grew. A business that would become synonymous with real estate. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson of Hawkeye Title and Settlement. When you're buying or selling your home, you'll need title and settlement services. Consider the Hawkeye Title and Settlement team. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
This is Leah Pasha, and I've been saying, hit a deer, call Premier, for years. But it's time for something new. It's still where you need to go for deer divots and door dings, as well as damaged dashboards. That's what my dad Nathan's driving at and dreams about. Why not say, when your car is dinged, be a deer and call Premier? I think Dad's going to love that. Premier Automotive, North Liberty's premier auto body repair shop.
Be a deer and call Premier Auto Body in North Liberty.
Diamond Dream Sports Academy, 20,000 square foot indoor facility, holds 8 batting cages, space for infield work, space for throwing and pitching and all your arm care needs. Offers private instruction, group lessons, camps and clinics, leagues, memberships. Rentals available at Diamond Dreams is open to the public.
Our top level instructors include former professional, college, and Olympic athletes. Our coaches will help these athletes achieve their full athletic potential, develop a strong work ethic, and a solid base to build. The last thing you want to do is look back and wish you had worked or played harder.
Locally owned and established in 2005, Diamond Dreams is Eastern Iowa's premier training facility. Located at 2905 Stoner Court, North Liberty. Call today and reserve your time. 319-665-2173. 319-665-2173.
GT Carr, owner of Supple's Building and Remodeling, has been offering unmatched service and quality for over 25 years. The trained professionals at Supple's Building and Remodeling will install and guarantee the products used in any job, no matter how big or small. They also stand behind their work and offer no-nonsense, exceptional customer service from design to completion and beyond. Whether it's a simple window replacement or a major house addition, you'll have the confidence that Supple's Building and Remodeling is committed to quality. Visit suples.net or call them today at 319-337-2246.
Check out the best source for your Iowa City area high school sports coverage. Go to yourprepsports.com. Hi, this is Pat Harty. City High, West High, Liberty High, Regina, West Branch, Solon, Clear Creek, Amanic. Your Prep Sports has all the boys and girls high school sports you crave. You'll get free, in-depth reporting from dedicated sports journalists on your favorite teams: football, basketball, golf, volleyball, track, softball, and baseball seasons. Profiles, pictures, video, and more. Get in on the action. Go to yourprepsports.com today and spread the word.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Super sunny today with high temperatures tapping 20 degrees. Tonight, with clear skies, we slide to the single digits. And for tomorrow, warmer, reaching 30. There'll be a ton of sunshine out there, and that stays the case into Sunday as well. And we get even warmer, hitting 40 degrees. And if you think it stops there, it doesn't. Monday, we'll be flirting with 50. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 6 degrees.
KCJJ weather, brought to you by Plum Supply.
Plum Supply kitchens and baths. Your home never looks so beautiful.
Hawkfanatic is back here on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Brittany Merlot making weather sound real sexy.
Brittany Merlot.
Flirting with 50.
No, I like Brittany a lot.
I do too.
I like flirting with 50.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, it felt different today. I mean,
Yeah.
just even today, like going from the car to here felt a lot different than it did 2 days ago.
Well,
Yeah.
the wind's not bad today.
No, and we've been lucky. We've had a lot of sun during this cold spell, but this has been one of those where it's not been historic like that one we had 2 or 3. It's
that
just
was
been
ridiculous.
But this one's just been long. It's been persistent. This has been about 10 days, hasn't it?
Something like that.
Of below 10, and it's just been miserable. But look, today the high's what, 20?
20, and then we actually might get above freezing on Saturday.
And then
for sure on Sunday.
And then Sunday's in the 40. What's Monday?
50.
50. Tuesday 60,
No,
Wednesday 70.
Wouldn't that be nice? Upper 40s Tuesday, low 50s Wednesday with some rain possible.
It'll just be nice not having the furnace turn on every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You know, I'm just tired of hearing, because mine always makes a click sound when it's right before it turns. I'm like, here it comes again, then it builds up for, and then it comes on, and I'm just tired of hearing it.
I have a question for Pat.
All right.
So Iowa baseball plays this weekend, and they get done Sunday. Then the next weekend, they play a 4-game series in Texas, I think, starting on Thursday. So if Tuesday is like 55 degrees, would they schedule a game like...
I don't know about that. If they play Thursday, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think... Okay,
I don't know if they do it that close.
Okay.
But we know Rick, and when he sees that weather, hey, let's get Loris down here.
Yeah, I was going to say, he picks up the phone
that
and
would
calls
be interesting.
Loris.
But if they played Friday, maybe I don't want to
That's
put
the
words.
thing, they play
But
Thursday.
that's pretty close.
Washington State. All right, thanks. Cheers.
But again, I don't know. Maybe he would. But yeah, this weather is crazy. Do you think this thing we're coming out of now is the last of these types of things?
It's probably the last
You don't have these in
polar
March.
vortex we get. I don't think so.
You don't have many polar vortexes in March, do we?
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, we have bad weather in March. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
we
we
get
don't have
snow.
the minus 18 at night with wind. You don't get a
No.
lot of that in March. Yeah, the reason we have a lot of snow in March sometimes is because it's warmer. It's been too cold to snow.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's at least though the sun's coming in and you can feel it better. Weather won't be a factor, and that's another thing. Going back to the men's team, when you lose and you have a program that has been kind of sputtering off and on for 3 decades, fans also look for excuses not to go to games. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
absolutely.
I mean, if they were right now, if they were 11-5 instead of what are they 5-10 in the conference play right now?
I think 5-10 is correct. Let's see. Iowa is 5-10.
I mean, if they were 10-5 right now instead of 5-10, I don't think we'd be talking as much about the crowd. I mean, I don't know if it would be filled to the rafters, but Tom, they'd have somewhere between 9,000 and 12,000 people.
We would, and we'd be in the top 5 of the conference. And there'd be good crowds.
I mean, there's a ton of factors. Don't get me wrong.
But now they're literally fair weather fans.
But right now, Fran is not winning enough to offset the malaise, and the fact that he's in year 15, that's part of it too. And so you've kind of got this perfect storm for apathy. But again, this isn't something that's just happened under Fran. Fran is also suffering because of what happened prior to him. But again, the only remedy is to win, and it just ain't happening right now.
Well, I mean, Caitlin's teams, okay, we're just fantastic, obviously. And you get weather like we've been having. It doesn't matter. People go.
Yes,
because It's what they want
and
to do.
I do buy into the, well, I can't afford both. I get that. That maybe puts, but there's enough Iowa fans out there to where if the men's team was winning, they'd be getting more. This is not rocket science. I mean,
that's right.
Winning. I know the non-conference schedule doesn't help, but again, and I will take this to my grave, if they were winning like Wisconsin or like Purdue, that Southern game, instead of having 4,000, would have 9 or 10, and it wouldn't be that big of an issue.
Well, let me also say, though, that some of the early non-conference games from Wisconsin, there were a ton of empty seats up there. So
I think too much is focused on the non-conference schedule, and it takes away from the fact that they're just not winning enough.
No, that's what it is.
Fran's not the first coach to play a soft non-conference schedule. I mean,
No.
I love Tom Davis, but there were a lot of boring games under Tom Davis where they were just no-brainers. Alford, same way. Licklider, every coach does it.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing is, I do disagree with Fran by not playing Drake and Northern Iowa. And same thing with Iowa State. I think it's a bad look.
Because those would always be good crowds.
Good crowds. And they would eliminate 2 of those games against Southern and University of Southwest, East, North, Central, whatever.
University of Texas A&M Commerce.
Yes,
You know, what the hell is that?
They would eliminate at least 2 of those. You got to have at least 4 or 5 of those every year. I get it. I get it. But you don't need 7 and 8, and you don't need them at the expense of Drake and Northern Iowa. That's my biggest thing with the non-conference schedule. But to me, of all the things to worry about with Iowa basketball, the non-conference schedule is near the bottom.
At the top of the list.
Is near the bottom
Yes.
because winning would simply change that no matter what.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just tomorrow's a big game for both teams, but I think home court is going to lift Iowa. I think it's going to be a close game. And that game the other night, they just weren't going to win that game. It was like they were cursed. I mean, they missed so many shots that they normally make in their sleep. They normally make just routinely. And then when Washington had that guy when Oregon had that guy who was 1 of 14 from 3, throw that thing up and it went in. I'm like,
was that the bank shot?
No, this wasn't the bank shot. It was from the left side, kind of right in front of where like Kirk Ferentz sits when he goes to games. And he just threw it up toward the end of the shot clock, and it was his second 3. I'm like, they're going to lose this game. And then when the big center, who's good, when the shot clock was coming down, just turned and shot that one from 30, and it swished. I'm like, they are not going to win this.
32.
They're just not going to win this game.
No.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was destiny.
Yeah, and we were right there, man.
And Dix, I think, was just fatigued by the time he went to take that shot. What I've noticed with Dix, it's interesting. Even when he doesn't have to, he shoots a fadeaway. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
All his shots now are fadeaways.
Yeah.
And there's times where he doesn't have to fade away. And he does that. And I sometimes wonder if sometimes his shot falls short. But that one was just a good defensive play, and he just didn't seem to have a lot of lift. I didn't have a problem with the play. I always like Fran's plays coming out of inbound. I think they usually work. Yeah, I don't think Iowa's problems with Fran are ever X's and O's, other than the fact they play so fast on offense. I think there's times where I wish he would slow down to give his defense a break. And in fairness, after these last 2 games where the defense has been terrible, he said it starts with us shooting quickly. And I think that's his way of saying we need to take a little more time on offense so we can recover and recoup to go back and play defense. You just run down the court and jack up a shot, then your defense is vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's a big part of why they struggle on defense.
Yeah. Well, they need to do something defensively. That much is clear. And extremely clear.
Oh, that's why if I was Beth and she reached an agreement, I mean, you're going to have to bring a defensive specialist. You're going to have to bring a coach in here who's known for defense, or somebody who's maybe going to just focus strictly on defense. Something has to change. But I'm not sure if Fran would want to do that. I don't know. And I'm not saying I know that for a fact is what's going to happen. I think that's one of the options that could happen. That Beth may say, okay, if you want to come back and that's really what you want to do, well, okay, we need to work on this. We need to make some compromises on both ends. I think I could possibly see that happening, so we'll see.
So did you send anybody to the Big Ten men's tournament or the women's tournament on your staff?
What's that?
Would you send anybody to the Big Ten men's
Dallas
or
Jones
women's
is
tournament?
actually going to cover the women's tournament. He told me yesterday. The men, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I mean, but Dallas is going to cover the women's tournament for us. And, of course, I'll cover stuff from home, too.
Sure.
All the stuff's on TV. All the press conferences are on the Big Ten Network and all right stuff. But, yeah, he's definitely going to be in Indy for the women. He informed me of that yesterday. And I was happy, other than the financial part of it. I was, God, I sound like you guys.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad he's going to be there. And Because the women are the kind of team that they could make a run in the Big Ten tournament. The men possibly would if Freeman was still playing.
Yeah.
And they got hot from three. But, man, without Freeman, it's just hard to see that happening. But the men just got to get in because I'm not as confident now after what happened these last 2 days. That Northwestern win at Ohio State completely. Because I had basically written off Northwestern. I thought they were done.
Yep. Well, they're not.
No, they're not. And they were talking yesterday, the people doing the game, I can't remember who it was, thinking they're saying this might be his best coaching job, what he's doing this year with this team, because they lost Barnheiser and they lost that transfer from, was he from Bucknell? Jalen Leach, I think was his name. He was one of their top players, and he's out too, and yet they're still competitive.
Yeah, and he's a heck of a coach. Now, did we ascertain that he's roughly your age?
No,
the other day
he's 9 years. He's like 51.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, because remember he was recruited by Chris Street. Chris Street was at Iowa trying to recruit. And Chris Street would be like 52 or 53. Chris Collins is about 8 or 9 years younger than me. So he's in his early 50s. And I thought about him, but the more I think about him, I don't know. I don't know if would you leave what he's got going at Northwestern for Iowa? I'm not sure if I would.
That's a good question.
Less pressure at Northwestern.
There's less pressure, but also harder to get the players.
Well, it is, but they're out there. I mean, Duke supposedly has academic standards, and I know Duke and Northwestern, you can't compare the two. But I think with basketball, that's not as hard as it is with football because you don't need near as many.
You don't need 100
You don't
players.
need near as many players. Yeah. But it is a factor, but I think there's more than enough basketball players. And I'm actually kind of surprised that Collins, with his success, hasn't been able to cut into that little bit of what Duke does. You know, getting all these 4 and 5. I thought maybe he would get some of those guys, but it just shows how powerful Duke's tradition is.
Yeah.
And what have you. But, no, I thought that was an incredible performance by Northwestern last night. And if you're an Ohio State fan, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. You know, Ohio State basketball, it should be better than it is. It should be more consistent.
Well, they should be more consistent in everything.
Yeah.
With all their resources.
Yeah, they should.
Their recruiting base. I mean, I give football credit. But their baseball team isn't very good.
No.
There's times where it's not very good. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because Iowa, they got some work to do just to avoid kind of like what happened to the softball team, not playing in the conference.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that would be.
You imagine having the tournament in Carver Hawkeye Arena and the men.
Would you and Ann go?
If Iowa wasn't in it, and the men, no. Women, possibly. But men, no. No, that'd be too hard.
That was a real disappointing softball season last year. I mean, the expectations were a lot higher. Just some years are like that.
Yeah. Well, expectations are, it's better not to have any, of course, but people are people.
Yep. I will point out, though, that the Cubs won their opening exhibition game, and they're on their way to undefeated season.
There you go.
12-4, I think they beat the Dodgers yesterday.
Yeah, it popped up on on the TV screen, the Cubs playing Dodgers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cubs own the Dodgers.
The Cubs are on already.
Yeah,
freaking baseball.
Yeah, they've already convened for spring training, and they start games right away. It's like within a week. It's crazy. And I think the Cubs and Dodgers started early because they're playing in Japan in the middle of March, 2 games that will count toward the season. So they're going to travel over there. So they're trying to get some games in.
And Iowa State's got a game. Their football team's got a game in Ireland next year, don't they? Or Ireland or England?
I think it's Ireland, isn't it?
I think it is.
That's a good idea.
That's great.
Oh, hey,
now,
if I were an Iowa State fan, I would move heaven and earth to go there.
I'm not sure if the Hawkfanatic travel budget could handle that, but I'd certainly give it a try.
Don't have any stringers over there?
No, I don't. I wonder what a flight to Ireland would cost on average.
Yeah,
to get 1,500?
Like no, not that much.
Not that much? Oh, okay. I figured it'd be that much.
I mean, you can spend more than that if you want, but you can generally get deals on overseas.
Like less than 1,000?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to visit Ireland. I think that'd be great.
Ireland, I loved it.
I'll bet you did.
Yeah. I would go back in a second.
Isn't that where Ann hurt her knee?
Unfortunately, yes, her tendon, yeah.
Will she be excited to go back, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hello.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Not too bad. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, I heard you got a little change of the weather.
Well, not yet, but it's headed that way.
Hey, I read in the paper this morning, maybe you guys heard about this, but Georgia and Alabama, kids making NIL money, it's tax-free. It's a state law.
Yeah, if that's what the state law is.
Well, there's some states that don't have a state tax.
Yeah.
Florida doesn't have a state tax. I didn't know those ones were the same. But yeah, if you don't have a state tax, you're not paying state taxes.
Well, I don't know if it's federal or it's a state law. It said tax-free.
Well, there you go. Good for them.
They're talking, all the SEC conferences are going to do that now, pass laws. That's ludicrous.
Well, it is what
we
it
have
is.
to pay taxes.
Yeah. We don't have to like it, but we have to pay taxes.
Yep. I hate paying taxes.
Yeah, I got mine done.
But, I mean, there's people talking about getting rid of the property tax because, I know I would, but who's going to pay the bills and who's going to pay the streets? And
exactly.
I get it. My property tax is ridiculous how expensive it is, but that's life.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay for it.
They'll just tax you a different way.
Well, yeah. I mean, every purchase at a store, they take more. They're going to get it either way, but you also need the money to function as a civilized society, so to speak.
Yeah, we can't let our bridges fall down.
No.
All the potholes in Iowa City.
Yep. There's another big one forming in the Sycamore. Right when you turn into the left there to go toward Panera, there's a big, massive pothole that's forming.
Did you call it in?
Not yet. I'm going to make fun of it on the radio for a couple months, and then they'll go into action.
Well put. Spring training started down here.
Yeah? Yep. Are you going to any games?
I'm going to go up to Tampa Bay. It's in Port Charlotte. After the hurricanes, they couldn't play there last year, their spring training site.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, it was $10 for a lawn seat right by the Tiki Hut bar in center field.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
That's cheap for Major League Baseball.
It sure is. I was going to ask Cooper to Gene's grandparents how much the beers at the Super Bowl were, but I didn't know that if they were teetotalers or not.
Yeah, I thought that was their grandparents. I was at the library today, and I caught you guys' show.
Cool. We appreciate it.
What a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
Makes you proud to be an Iowan.
Yep.
I'll let you carry on.
All right. Well, thanks, Paul.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Proud to be an Iowan. It's like we all intercepted. We all had a pick six at the at the Super Bowl.
Well, it's just neat. You know, it's something to be a little proud of.
It is. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see how this called.
This is Cooper.
Hello.
Oh, that ain't good.
Cooper telling us to leave his grandparents alone.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hi.
Hey, just wondered what Pat thought about. I heard you guys earlier talking about maybe bringing in a defensive coach for the basketball team. You think Fran would be open to that?
Probably not.
Probably not. And I'm not necessarily saying they're going to bring in some defensive wizard with you. They bring in a coach whose main objective is defense. They do that maybe more than – that's just a thought, a theory. But, no, I don't think he would be for that. I think Fran thinks he doesn't need people telling him what to do. And more power to him. Fran knows a hell of a lot more about basketball than I do.
It's his program, and my guess is –
and it's worked more times than not. But, like I said, we're in a bad situation right now, or they are. This is just,
what do you think about this McCollum guy from Drake, Pat?
I think he's done a sensational job at Drake. He proved me wrong. I was not impressed when I heard he was going to start 4 of his Division II players, but I disrespected Division II basketball more than I should have. It's been great. But it's been 1 year, and my concern would be with the Iowa fans right now. They're kind of in this malaise and sort of disconnected. His style of play isn't the most enjoyable to watch.
No, it isn't.
It's Licklider, but the difference is they win. But Licklider won at Butler. But that would be my style. Their style of play, they play at a really slow pace.
Kind of like the Wisconsin.
Well, Wisconsin's changed.
Yeah,
Greg Gard changed. He recruited different players. They play as fast as about anybody now.
And they're a lot more fun to watch.
They weren't going to get John Tomsey if they still played the way they used to, but no, they have changed. They've evolved.
I mean, do you know what DeVries' buyout is at West Virginia?
It's
I just
around
don't
8,
know
isn't
if
it?
he's going to want to.
It's around 8.
Yeah,
it's around 8.
It is.
Last I checked, it was read or checked, it was around 8. Franz is around 4. So there's about a $12 million buyout combined that would have to be dealt with, and then you throw in the 25 or 30 million in contract, and it's $30 to $40 million for DeVries, and it's going to be even Ben McCollum, whose buyout not like DeVries. Ben McCollum, if you're not going to hire a new coach for less money, would you? That would just be a bad look.
No.
And Fran makes 3.2 right now, so I would think like even Ben McCollum would get 3.5 over 6 years.
Yeah, I would think so.
I know he's done a hell of a job at Drake. The other question, my concern with him is can he recruit,
yes,
players?
No, I'm with you on that.
We
And
don't know.
Keno Davis did a great job at Drake, but he didn't do well at Providence.
At Providence.
Yeah, and isn't there another Iowa coach? I think Chris Jans down
Chris
at
Jans,
State.
Steve Forbes.
Steve
They've
Forbes.
got,
Name always pops up.
Yeah, those names always pop up.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that we can get some wins maybe and get into the. I'm not even positive like you that they're going to get into the Big Ten tournament.
Oh no,
not at all.
They got some work. They got
to
some work
win
to do.
tomorrow.
They got to win tomorrow. If they don't win tomorrow, then I'll probably start saying they're not going to get in.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
Well, even if they win tomorrow, they've still got a lot of work to do.
Well, they do, but it also will depend on what they need somebody else to free fall. They need, but my concern now is these teams that are struggling at the bottom are all showing a little bit of life.
Yes, they are.
When do you think you? It probably won't be till after the season that Beth and Fran would sit down and talk.
Well, if you read Twitter, they've already had talks, and DeVries is going to be hired. I mean, stuff won't be dragged out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It will be.
I really like Fran a lot.
So do I.
And it's kind of disappointed it's not working out here for him.
Well, in some ways it's worked out very well, and in
And
other
his
ways it hasn't.
His supporters will say, well, it really is working out if you just look at it objectively. Then they'd go through all those numbers, and they'd say, look at the injuries this year. That's what his supporters would say, and rightfully so to defend him. There is a side that supports him, too.
Well, I support him, but I just think maybe it is time to
And
move
more
on.
power to you.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he wants to be down around the Butler area.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
Working for the Big Ten Network or something, he would be great in studio. He would be really good in studio.
If that's what he wants, that's what he'll do.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call.
But I do think there's fans, some that are just convinced that, the moment the season's over, Beth's going to fire him, they're going to hire DeVries the next day. And maybe that'll happen, but I'm certainly not there right now.
No. I mean, don't they really have to kind of have a national search or not?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
I mean, it didn't with Jan, but
I mean, yeah, but they took steps to prepare for that too. There's not a Jan in this situation.
No, there isn't.
West Virginia's head coach is not Iowa's, so
No.
It's a complete apples and oranges. So we shall see, and you don't know who else may apply for the job.
Yeah.
I think it's great what Darian DeVries has done, but still, I mean, it's just. I know you just got to let this thing play out. I think what if they just went out and they get to the finals of the Big Ten tournament? I know that ain't going to happen.
And
but,
then not make the NCAA.
Well, okay, if they won out, I know we're just having fun here, people. If they won out, that would make them 9-. That'd make them 10-10.
Yeah,
they'd probably be in the tournament.
Probably would.
Wouldn't that be? But of course, that's not going to happen. Okay, 5 left. I think they're going to go either 2-3 or 1-4.
I think that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, quick question. Has Dean Oliver's name come up?
Well, he's not even. I mean, he's coaching. He's not really in college coaching anymore. He moved to Central Iowa. His son is actually being recruited to Iowa for football, and I believe Dean's the coach of the high school down there. But yeah, he's not at Wisconsin anymore.
Oh, he's not at Wisconsin. And then what's the guy in Kirksville? Former Hawkeye.
Oh, you mean
Truman State?
Jeff Horner?
Jeff Horner.
Jeff Horner, thank you. Yeah. Those were the two that I was thinking. I didn't realize Dean Oliver had left Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going.
Yeah, he's in Central Iowa now, Waukee.
Have you guys gotten any updates on the high school wrestling and for the area wrestlers who's made it to the semifinals?
I don't follow it very closely, Terry, so I can't help you here.
Well, I went to the Iowa Athletic Association website, and it's like reading War and Peace.
It's not easy to negotiate. I know that for a fact.
It is. It's terrible.
There may be something on Your Prep Sports. I know they're down. I know Ryan Merkin's down there covering it.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Terry.
Stay warm.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, good way to plug YPS.
There you go.
But no, I'm guessing 1-4 or 2-3.
So, do you think it would have any impact on the decision on Fran if they don't win any more games this year?
Oh, it wouldn't help.
Yeah.
It certainly wouldn't help. I mean, they're going to have a conversation, of course, after the season, and that's going to happen under any circumstance.
Right.
But Fran's not a fool. He looks up and sees the stands. He knows what's going on. I think he probably thinks that maybe, hey, this is not all my fault. I've done good enough to decide when I want to try. I think that's where he probably still is, and more power to him to think that way. And fair enough, and I'm sure his family feels that way too. But there's an obvious disconnect.
There is, and and we've touched on it, and I do believe that the women's basketball success has affected.
I'm sure it's taken some away, but I still say more winning would offset.
Oh no, I agree with that. I agree with that too.
But I still say it's become easier for fans over these last 2 or 3 decades to disassociate with the men's basketball program because of so many stretches of Wisconsin's been good since Dick Bennett. Wisconsin's been good at basketball for 25 years.
Yes,
Iowa's been mediocre, up and down. I mean, think about that. And I just think Fran is suffering from that now because his program's starting to sputter. And since there's been so much sputtering prior to him, everything's magnified even more. Plus, he's in year 15, and not to show age discrimination since I'm old, he's also going to be 66 in May.
Yeah.
And I think that is in everybody's head. They put all that together, and you have a perfect storm for apathy when you're not winning enough.
It is true. And not having any NCAA success, per se. I mean, he's won a few games, but they beat Davidson, and they beat the Grand Valley State or whoever.
And they do have some disadvantages with NIL, but that's going to start to change. Once the $20 million a year budgets these. But football is going to always be the priority. Basketball will never be the NIL priority here. Football has to be, and that's a no-brainer.
Football's the cash
That's
cow.
a no-brainer. I get that. So there just seems like there's a lot of, and Fran's not the one publicly going out and saying all these excuses. Now, I've had conversations they've lost some players that wanted to come to Iowa from the basketball and culture standpoint, but they just couldn't match the NIL.
Yep.
That's been part of it. I've talked to them off the that happens to a lot. That's just life. You got to figure out a way to make it work. And what's interesting is Fran is kind of his own worst enemy because he has a special gift for seeing talent where other coaches don't. He offered Luca Garza before any other Power 4 coach, and by the time Luca had all those other scholarship offers, it was too late. He and Fran were already a sealed deal. Keegan Murray, Chris Murray. But the problem is when those players become superstars, you're expected to win more, and when you don't win more, you're defeating your own purpose. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
He built them into stars, but then he didn't win with them, so his legacy gets hurt by that.
Hello.
Yeah, I was wanting to let you know that for the Iowa wrestling, they can go to track wrestling and follow all the matches.
Track wrestling? Is it free?
So track wrestling, there's a link on the Iowa High School Athletic Association site. It'll take you right to them.
Is it free?
Do it. Thank you.
All right. I think track wrestling is free.
Okay. Not a lot free anymore. YPS
Yeah.
is free. So,
Your
but no.
Prep Sports. Did you get that abbreviation there?
Yes, I did.
You did follow?
YPS. It's going to be, and one day it's going to be just like UPS, just all over
NFL.
all over the country. YPS.
Make it a franchise.
Well, we are thinking of, we definitely are thinking of spreading. Well, there's not a lot of high school sports in Dubuque, not a lot of coverage in Quad Cities. There's definitely some talk if we can figure out a way to do it. Because, I think I'm not saying we've cornered the market for high school sports in Iowa City, but I think we are the go. Nobody covers local sports like Your Prep Sports does. And I know I'm biased, but it's just a fact. It's not even close.
Yep. Hello.
Can we drift for 1 second?
You bet.
Has anyone heard from Dennis Murphy if he took the buyout?
No.
No, we have not heard from Dennis. I got his text number, I think. And we can check.
Okay.
But no, we haven't heard anything from Dennis.
All right.
Thank you.
Is he woke, Dennis?
I'm not sure what Dennis is.
Not really.
Is he a fascist or a socialist? Because there's no in between anymore.
I think he's just happy he had got a job after all
good
those
job.
years.
Yeah.
Maybe
do what they tell him.
What if he buys the station?
Dennis Murphy?
Yeah.
Well, he's got to have a few more years of that
severance package?
$40,000 salary.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Well, people say, well, that's in Washington, D.C. It's not. Well, that's still, I don't care. That's a lot of money anyway.
It is.
That's a decent amount of money.
Well, and they're
anyway.
going to make him go back to work because, he's been working from home for, 4 or 5 years. So
Doge is all over him.
He may have taken
He's
the
being
buyout.
doged.
Yeah. I love how they send out these letters to these people and tell them that their performance is not up to speed, and that's why they're being let go, so they can try and get away with paying from paying unemployment. It's crazy. Hello.
Hey guys, what about one thing about Fran that I've noticed, and other people have said it, but I noticed it like a year ago. Man, is and I like Fran, but just to me, the demeanor and body language, standing there with your hands in your pockets all game, and he don't have the fire that I've seen him have prior.
Yeah, I know that
argument.
argument.
Think that?
No, yes, he's changed, but I think he's mellowed a little bit with his old age. And I also think that some events that have happened in his life maybe have caused him to mellow a little bit during those heats of moments. And I think Iowa has told him before, hey, enough of this. You can't be doing some of these things that you've done to be suspended. But a lot of people will agree with you saying, it's obviously something's not there anymore. But
his sideline demeanor is
it's
different.
changed, but I think that may be calculated. Maybe I don't think it's, I just don't care as much anymore. I'm just here to pick up a paycheck, and it's just not the same. I think it's more stuff that has happened around him.
And we think that he's healthy?
Well, I don't have any reason not to think that. And we've had, somebody said they had him mic'd up. Didn't somebody call in the other day and say that he was mic'd up? And they're like, well, the Fran I listened to, he was dropping F-bombs left and right. He was just as that was just from a recent game.
No, you're right.
A caller called in and said it was F-bombs left. Oh, it was from the Hawkeye radio feed. He was too close to their feed, and they said he was screaming and yelling, and it sounded like the old Fran. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of that.
I like that. I'm not one. And I know people, don't like that and whatever. That was one of my things that about Fran McCaffrey that I'll always remember, and things that I loved about him was just the way
the fire,
his demeanor, his facial expressions. God, I would just love watching that.
Oh no, and I get you. And there's a lot of people that feel that way, but there's also, I remember during some of those times we'd take calls from people saying that's an embarrassment to the athletic department.
Right.
Yeah. And there was that side of it too, and I think that he was told to tone it down some too.
And real quick, and then I'll go. Last thing is, I was thinking about these guys, and obviously. Whether people want to say it or not, and Kirk and Fran's, the end is closer, obviously, than the beginning. And,
sure, of course.
I've been watching. You watch these guys talk, these coaches of some of these characters, and Pat, as you covering them and interviewing them, you've had a lot of, you know what you're going to get, from Kirk. How Fran is,
yes,
and whatever. Yes, but you watch and you see like Calipari or some of these Mike Leach or some of these characters out there that, you know, who knows what the hell you're going to get when the next one comes with if they hire somebody.
No, you're right.
You're
right.
With
you're right.
press conferences, could you imagine going to some of them press conferences with Mike Leach and?
Well, Leach would have been fun because you never know what he was going to talk about. But yeah, like Tom said, Kirk makes Cooper DeJean sound exciting. You know, but I get you. No, I get what you're saying. My response. You can't be afraid of change, but you also can't just assume change is the best answer too. I'm to the point now where I know how Kirk's going to answer certain questions, and Kirk's never going to criticize the opposition. Fran's never going to criticize the opposition. Kirk's been here 26 years, Fran 15. You get to know him after a while.
Yep.
Let's just pretend if Mike Leach was the coach at Iowa and some of the questions, because they would ask him anything.
Oh, I would have fun with him.
What would be a question you would have asked that dude?
My first question to him would be Steely Dan or Motorhead. Who you got? That would probably be my first. And he would run off for 20 minutes explaining his answer.
Would you ask him who he hired to fill Kinnick Stadium?
Get him that one too. Yep, I'd ask him that. I'd have a ball with someone like that.
They asked him one time coming off the field at a halftime, and the ESPN reporter, it was an afternoon game. It was on Halloween. And
I remember the one. Corn nuts.
What are you thinking about? And he's like, well, I was just thinking about what kind of candy I'm going to hand out tonight.
And then he went off on this long diatribe about what are the worst Halloween candies and what are the best. Yeah, he was the anti-Kirk Ferentz.
Your God.
Rest his soul.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
No, that would be fun. After a while, it would get probably old after a while, but no,
probably.
It would have been different. I mean, it definitely would have been different.
Well, how about Bill Walton interviewing Mike Leach?
Oh, God. I was reminded of that the other day. It's just not the same basketball season without Bill Walton.
That sure isn't.
This is our first season full without him, and it's just...
I'm not a huge...
unique.
I don't watch a lot of basketball, but when I know Bill Walton's going to be there, I will watch a quarter or two just to hear him. He's just so great. He was just so great.
I can't believe he's gone.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anything. Have you heard anything, Pat, about the Indiana Fever game, how they're going to do the tickets yet?
I have not. No, but I also haven't been.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't been really. Well, I just haven't really given it a thought.
Yeah.
You'll probably find that out before I do, especially since you want to go to the game and you're a season ticket.
Yes.
You're thinking that they're going to give season ticket holders.
That is what
but doesn't the
I'm
Fever
thinking.
have to agree to that decision through Iowa, or who's got the say, Indiana or Iowa? It's theirs.
I think it's probably a joint.
I mean, it's Indiana's game. They're just doing it here,
Yes.
so I would think it would have to be some type of joint.
I would think so. I don't know if it's a decent source or not, but somebody had said that, it's going to be the Iowa season ticket holders first and then the Fever season ticket holders. That would make some kind of sense, but I don't know.
First come, first serve, and you just see Iowa and Indiana just battling outside Carver Hawkeye Arena. Would you like to see that? Would you take a Fever fan down if you had to?
Well,
get your seat?
I like both teams.
I know, but if it came down to a seat, you'd take a Fever fan down, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Damn right you would.
I'd go for the
because those Indiana fan tones, a lot of them are probably Indiana Hoosier fans.
No, that's right.
So hold that against them.
Well, I would be for a lottery system. After maybe half of the arena for season ticket holders and what have you, and the other half just open to the public in a lottery kind of a deal where you put your email in and they email you back and you got a day to figure out whether you want tickets or not.
I want first come, first serve anarchy. That's what I'm hoping. Anarchy outside
no online
the arena.
Tickets, just line up at the
just
box
line
office.
up and just get there the earlier the better.
Well, what I'm worried about is somehow the secondary market getting a hold of it.
Yeah, I don't.
And then it, puts it into the.
Well, I'm sure they will get tickets, but you don't want all of them now out there.
No, and there's some online already.
Because
they know that they're going to be available at the very top row, like what is it, 44 in Carver?
44, yeah.
They stick tickets for sale in row 44.
Yeah, okay.
For hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Well, the one seat in the house with the recliner and the 50 or 60 inch TV, bright color, snacks on your side, you're fine. But it's a
different deal.
It'll be an event if you get to go.
And then in Spencer Lee's wrestling, the Japan champion. That's
Yep.
tomorrow. That's tomorrow at Extreme, right?
Yep. Oh no.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I'm sure they're going to
Yeah.
draw a big crowd for that. Yeah, no, there's a lot going on. A lot going on this weekend.
That's not on our list, unfortunately.
But the men got to win tomorrow.
They do.
If they don't win tomorrow, I'm thinking they're probably not going to be in the Big Ten tournament.
Well, then we'd have to beat Northwestern and pull an upset.
Well, yeah, because I don't think just beating Northwestern if you lose tomorrow will be. I think that'll make.
No,
I think they'll be one of the three out.
We would have to pick win at least one of the
I
other
think so.
games we're not supposed to win.
Yes, because Northwestern's already won one of the games I gave them no chance of winning.
That's right.
When I looked at their schedule.
And if Washington wins tomorrow, they will leapfrog us, right?
Yes.
Well,
they'd be tied with Iowa win wise, but
Yeah.
they of course would have the
With
tie
the head-to-head.
The head-to-head, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a huge game tomorrow, and I just hope the fans come out and support the team because
I
that
do
can
too.
be the difference of 6-8 points. It can help them get over the edge, and there's not many games left for Peyton Sanford, and I just hope they come out and show these guys some appreciation.
I hope they do too. And you can get tickets in the secondary market cheaply. And you can also get tickets from the ticket office, and they're not that spendy either.
How many students showed up? I forgot to ask Dallas. How many students showed up the other night for the beer, and how many were in the set? I saw a video right before the game. It didn't look like there were hardly any in there.
It was
like 20, maybe.
I think it was no, that section in front of the band.
I'm talking the section to the left of the band. That's the bulk.
There
of the
weren't
students.
a lot,
so it didn't really have much. Of
I
an
don't
effect.
think so.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I'm not surprised that it didn't. I mean, yes, alcohol is a very persuasive thing, but I wasn't expecting much. But again, I give them credit for trying.
No, $2 beers and a sexual partner would have filled the time.
Depending
20.
on who the sexual partner was.
Maybe not.
With college kids, it'll fill it up.
Yeah.
Well, you had that lady who supposedly had sex with 1,000
Yes.
men, and she's pregnant. Gee, imagine that. Did you hear about that?
Ew.
Was that in a day?
Yes, within 24 hours.
Ew.
And, they said, well, they had to use a condom, and then some guy pointed out, well, condoms are like 99% effective, so 1 in 1,000.
Can you imagine her waking up that day? Hell, boy, I got a big day ahead of me. I mean, what the hell?
That's
ew. That is just hard
on
to
both on both parties.
On both parties, yes. Hey, I'm number 8. I'm number 887. I can't wait.
Oh boy,
yeah. Boy,
fun.
This is fun.
Yeah, that's just as oogie as it gets.
Yeah, I think
there's
so.
something wrong.
And
with
she's
her.
she's an attractive woman.
Yeah, she
There's
ain't.
no reason why
she's
she
not a
needs
dog by any means
to do that.
Because she's got something.
Well, was there some incentive for her just to
That she get paid a bunch of money? I didn't read it.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I did not bother to click. I just saw it on Twitter. So and so reflects on sleeping with 1,000, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. But that's the world we live in.
Yep.
And I saw we got beat. I didn't watch it. I would have watched it, and I forgot we lost to Canada.
Yeah,
last
overtime.
night. My Twitter feed is just filled with Americans and Canadians arguing, and it's a cesspool.
Well, I'll tell you, it had a lot more interest than a regular NHL All-Star game, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, because it came down to one nation. They showed people almost getting in fights in the stands and what have you. So,
Jesus.
And then you saw the White House press secretary. She said she was very eager to watch the U.S. hockey team beat our future 51st state. They were.
Yes, and they referenced the Prime Minister as Governor Trudeau.
Yep. And then he responded back after they won, saying, "You're not taking our country and you're not taking our game." It's just turned into a pissing match.
Yeah. Well, it's ridiculous to think that Canada's. Oh, sure. Why not be the 51st state?
It'd be a big ass state.
It sure would.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we've covered everything.
Thanks
now,
again.
Monday's game show should be great because you've got two men's and women's basketball, wrestling.
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe try to get. I'll reach out to Adam here the next day. Try to get Adam if not Monday, at least try to get him sometime next week for our next update.
That'd be
we'll
good.
have a lot to talk about.
Lots to talk about for sure.
Okay. Got some police reports coming up next with Tommy Lang and Jim Hunter and Hawkfanatic.com. Well, first off, we got to thank Cooper DeJean's grandparents, Al and Kathy Wilkie.
You know what? I did forget to ask them because one of I think it was Andy that reached out and said, was wondering remember there was an Iowa wrestler named Cash Wilkie?
Oh.
He was wondering if they were related, but
Could be.
The way Dave spelled Kathy's last name was different than how Cash Wilkie
Well,
spelled
then
it. But I forgot to ask.
that would
Sorry,
be
Andy. I just
no relation
I
then,
just
obviously.
well, unless maybe somebody has it misspelled. But I think it does have a C in it. But who knows?
Okay, and Hawkfanatic.com. Check it out. It's free.
It's lunch.